client sessions and check-ins. So today you're going to spend the day with me. Following up from I'm just kind of full day of eating from the previous video, I will include food and stuff from my day. Today's a training day for me, so we'll see what my training day food looks like, the frequency of meals and how they kind of sit, as well as heading down for a glute session. So I have a glute only session that falls once a week. It's one of my favourites actually, and yeah, I'll take you along, see how you find it. So hopefully that's enjoyable. It's always weird for me, so I train in the same gym that I work in until Extreme opens in Livingston. So it's trying to avoid that work mindset while I'm there. But yeah, so we'll have a look at some food today, some training, and a kind of general Sunday for me. It's very much a day to kind of get set for the week ahead, as well as spend some time with the little man, just because it's my only full day at home for the time being. So yeah, coffee time first, and then it's straight into breakfast. My little breakfast buddy, just waiting patiently to go for his walk. Wrapped himself up in his blanket because he must be feeling the cold. Super strong start. I was slicing my bagels in half and I have just sliced right through one of my calluses, and now it's kind of stopping bleeding already, but excellent start to breakfast. And I definitely butchered the shit out of those this morning. But that's training day breakfast ready. So 1.5 bagels, 2 eggs and 2 rashers of turkey bacon. My approach to both the kind of gaining phase that I've been in and the prep will likely be more of a meal plan than what you see with Andrew. So I do have macros that I can track, but I actually find it easier just to follow the meal plan that's been set out. The only thing that varies is my evening meal. So I have a set amount of protein and carbs, sometimes fat, to hit depending on training or rest days in the evening. Otherwise, my meals are identical day in, day out. So training day breakfast is always this meal. A rest day breakfast is oats instead. But that is like the variation that I have. I just find it easier to stick to in terms of keeping myself on track, prepping food for when I've got busy days, and not really having to give it too much thought. Like, it's all just set out, it's planned, it's ready to go. So that'll be the kind of big variation I think that you see between the two of us when it comes to our food. Although our calories overall aren't that different at the moment. So I'm sitting around about 3,000 calories on both training and rest days, just with different macro splits, which is quite a lot of food for someone of my size. So I'm only 4'11". I only weigh like 57.5 kilos. I'm quite a small person. So this is more food than I've had set by any coach at any point. But it's a nice change. You want to go walkies? You want to go walkies? Yeah. We gonna go? Where are we going? Knuckles. Walkies? We are just home from taking our walk and someone's ear is looking a little bit twisted. Can we fix this? There we are. Was someone a good boy? Yeah, look at that little face. So we're just back from, or I'm just back from walking the dog. So we did about an hour and 50 minutes there. He was really, really good. He's been pretty good in his walks recently, actually. I think he's finally kind of settled into what that should look like. So I'm going to make my pre-workout meal, let that sit for like an hour or so, in which time I'll do a little bit of work that I need to get done. And then it's down to train glutes. So cream of rice, whey, berries and some dark chocolate for today's pre-workout, as if that's any different any other day. I sometimes swap my dark chocolate for peanut butter. That's about as exciting as that gets. But yeah, so that's coming up just now, and then I'll have another little bit of food, so squares bar before I train, and that'll be that. So since actually deciding that I was having cream of rice, I have changed my mind on my dark chocolate and peanut butter, because we have very pink looking strawberry cheesecake flavour, and I don't think dark chocolate's going to sit quite right with that. So we have 80 grams of cream of rice, 100 grams of mixed berries, so I've got blueberries and raspberries here, 30 grams of whey protein, and then we'll have 20 grams of peanut butter in there as well. So I'm now going to tackle this big bowl of food. I find that this serving of cream of rice takes me quite a bit of time to get through. It's normally, it sits really well, but I do notice that sometimes if I've eaten too close from one meal to the next, that it takes a long time for it to sit right. I sometimes get that really kind of full feeling that sits kind of here, which is quite unpleasant. So fingers crossed today's not one of those days. Once I've tackled this mountain of food, I'll be getting fired into some work. I'll show you some bits and pieces about what I'm up to, just as like an insight to what that looks like. And then it's off to train, which should be good fun. So session today is mainly machine based actually. Cables, machines and Smith machine, I think mainly, to kind of get through this one, but it's a really, really good session. I feel like since I started this training with Sophie that my connection to my muscle while I'm training has improved so much. I think with the tempos that we started working with and kind of building weight in from there and keeping that tempo as the kind of foundation of what we're doing, my effectiveness in my training has improved hugely, and just kind of taking time to really feel what's working, and it feels like it's paying off. I'll maybe add up here like my kind of starting photos versus my last check-in, just so you can see the difference across those 12 weeks, because I'm actually quite happy with it. I think for a lot of females that building muscle can be pretty tricky, and especially as a natural female it can be quite hard, and as someone who's been training for a long time, I started training back in, God, I was young, like I was about 21 years old, so we're talking like 9-10 years worth of training, and I feel like after that point it does become a little bit harder, so you need to kind of be careful, or at least kind of be mindful of how you're training with these things. So I'm super happy with how that's looking. I'll pop it here and you can let me know whether or not, actually maybe not, either way it'll be there. Hello, as you can tell by the lighting, it has definitely been a bit of time since that last little clip. I sat down to do some client work, and I totally forgot to switch this back on. As I was going, I kind of got engrossed in that. So a couple of training programs up for the girls, a couple of new looks at some new food habits. So I've got a couple of clients that don't do any tracking, so getting them set for keeping on track with their food as they look to build some muscle, and a little bit of stretching and mobility work as well for another one of the girls. So that's all done and dusted. I'm just about to tan this lovely squares bar and get myself down for some training. I have totally set myself back with time though, because I spent so long working there. It's now about 4 o'clock, which means I need to head down to the gym, so I've got about a 20-minute walk ahead of me, which is why I'm going to have this before I go. Get in, train, so that's about an hour and a half, so we're looking, it takes us 20 past, yeah, like half 5, 6 o'clock by the time we're done, and then I still have a post-workout meal to go and my dinner and a final meal. So quite a lot of eating to do in the kind of second half of the day, just with not paying attention to time. And this is the bit that I struggle the most with, is kind of not having my meals spaced enough so that I don't feel too full. If I leave them too close together, then it feels like big portions of food all very, very tight together. So hopefully it shouldn't be too much of a struggle. Andrew finished at 6, so we should catch him again this evening, and we can have a little bit of a catch up about kind of how everything is going. So yeah, one thing I did want to touch on though is the kind of whole journey of the prep. So obviously we're aiming for the same shows. Our dates that we're set headed for are the same. However, we're at kind of very different stages of the process at the moment. So obviously he started with adding cardio and stuff in. I'm still working at kind of high food, no cardio, just my step target. But my output generally is quite high. But it's really bizarre. Like, I started a prep just before COVID hit, so we're talking 3 years ago now. And I got about halfway through until the shows were cancelled, and I just never picked it back up or kind of had the drive to go for it again. Following that, I spent a bit of time kind of stepping away from working with any coaches, worked for myself a little bit, changed my career, like everything kind of changed within that time frame. So this is just me kind of feeling settled enough to come back to it now. And it feels a little bit strange to kind of be back into that whole journey, especially with how different this approach has been to what I expected so far. So yeah, I feel a little bit bizarre about it all, but I'm excited. Like, I'm so excited for the process, and I've been saying for about 6 years that I wanted to step on stage, if not slightly longer. So this feels a bit like a kind of long time coming, and something that I kind of need to prove to myself that I can handle and that I can actually do. So it's just a bit strange, I think, aiming for the same time frame, but also being at very different stages of that journey. So yeah, we'll see how this goes anyway, but time to train. much later in the day. I totally forgot to pick this up when I came home. I came back, had some chicken and rice and some fruit. I'm just in making my final meal of the evening. We have more whey, banana, peanut butter going down, just the usual. So final meal is about to go in. We're going to sit and watch a movie to finish off Sunday night. Andrew had an early finish, so we can sit and enjoy that together, which is very nice. So yeah, that's kind of been my day. It's kind of a kind of quick one. I feel like the hours have definitely just disappeared and kind of gone into nowhere, but hopefully you've enjoyed, and we'll see you in the next one.